You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of goddamn nerds. Nerds!
Welcome back, everybody. Here we are, episode 29 for us. Thank you all who have subscribed. If you haven't, please do us a favor, hook us up, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, like, share, please. Let us know anything you guys want us to cover, and we are going to try our best to do that. As you see, we keep on trying to do at least 2 a week. But here we are again with one of the hottest shows. This is episode 4 of The Last of Us, and no Tommy. No Tommy. It's pretty Ellie centric, Ellie and Dina centric. They're still on their mission to find Abby, and we get introduced to Isaac and get a little bit of his he's getting introduced. Wasn't too much. To me, it was a little bit more about Ellie and Dina. Very much so. We'll get into that. But I'm gonna start with Pooba this time, and well, that's what happens when you wear the Last of Us shirt, and that's the show that we're covering. You get picked first. Thoughts on this episode?
You know, the shout out to the Isaac Dixon, Jeffrey Wright, who also voices his character in the game. So they actually use the actor that actually voices the actor in the game. So smart play, smart move. The concept of throwing a grenade into a can full of people is astonishing to me. Never even thought of that in that sense, but pretty dope.
Real quick question for both of you, but I'll let you get back. Don't lose that thought, Pooh. I'm sorry, but now that you brought that up, I know this has mimicked the game big time, like throughout the first 2 seasons, the season and a half. And Pooba, I think out of all of us, you got the furthest in the game, correct?
So this is kind of where I left off in the game. Like I don't know Isaac Dixon's backstory.
Oh, but did this happen in the game? Did you get to this part? Like, did he do that in the game?
No, I've never saw this in the game. All right. Yeah, because
go ahead, Cole. I could answer. Actually, you get his backstory only in the game when you find notes during the game, like little things that if you find like a book or whatever, and you get the time to read that book will give you the backstory of Isaac.
All right, my bad, Pooh. I just wanted to.
No need to apologize. That's why we do this, so we can actually conversate about it. But no, listen. It kind of throws us back. We get to see a little bit more lore into what Seattle is like. Again, some of the things like playing the guitar, I believe those are optional. Like I said, this is the part of the game where I kind of left off and I didn't pick it back up. But no, listen, they showing the streets, showing the tanks, being obvious about paying attention to the noise. We get to exactly feel what your environment's going to be like in a major city. Because again, the Jackson place is great, but it's in the middle of kind of nowhere. This is very different, very city centric. So very much careful because again, if you lived in any major city, you know that the sounds bounce off each other. Like you can hear a fire engine 3-4 blocks down because it's echoing through the streets. When she flipped the can open, you know, I'm like, oh yeah, you better go hide in that tank, which of course put me back into that Rick mode when Rick first goes into a tank in The Walking Dead. But no, again, great storytelling. We get the clickers back. I love the scene where she's listening and counting. Because again, there's a part of the game that I do remember that you're able to kind of echo sound the sounds of them. So seeing it visually, how it was done in the series on episode 4, when Dina was doing it with the counts, was also very smart because that's kind of how the game is played as well. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that intensity between Dina and and Ramsey, because yo, man, moment that I thought she was gonna shoot her. Like there was a moment there that I'm like, they may go off script here in a sense, but no, listen, enjoyable, dialogue great, action is great. I think now they know what they're getting themselves into. They're in it together, which is again very different from the game, because I do remember separating from Dina in the game. But man, it's really interesting, and I'm dying to see how they get that first kill on a revenge tour.
Oh, thoughts on the episode overall? Like, what stood out to you?
Overall, I don't know what it is with this show, but I don't mind the dialogue. For me, what stood out the most was definitely the connection that Dina and Bella is having. Ellie, excuse me, I called her by her real name. Ellie and Dina, the connection that they build within them two. I like it. I think it's a different spin from the video game, where actually Tommy, the brothers, usually is the one that went first, and he's actually with them in the video game. But here, I felt like what they wanted to do was show the audience, us that haven't played the video game, the connection between Dina and Ellie. That guitar scene was just beautiful, man. Even I was folded, crisscross applesauce, just like this, just watching Ellie just sing and
You had Dina eyes. You had Dina eyes.
I did. I had Dina eyes for sure. It was such a beautiful moment, and what's cool is that and I know we do a lot of references with the video game, so I hope our audience understands how we look at both sides of it, although I'll stick to the show. But in the video game, Joe actually shows Ellie how to play, and he has his own original song, where here, they use Aha. To be honest with you, I was singing background while Ellie was singing the song, and I just absolutely loved it. Another part that stuck out to me, like Puba said, when the clickers came out, that whole train scene was pretty cool. I really, really enjoyed that part. But all in all, with this episode alone, again, you have your action, but yet you have this story that stays together, and I don't mind the dialogue as much. So once again, very, very good show, and I enjoyed the story overall.
This episode very much reminded me of episode 3 of season 1. Nick Offerman, and he had his own little setup, and he had like a trespasser, and they ended up having a relationship together. And at the end of that episode, his partner was sick, and he ended up taking his own life at the same time. And to me, I was like, wow. And what his he was like, don't do this. And his explanation was like, you gave me purpose, and now when you're gone, I'm not going to have purpose. And it to me, it was just one of those, mind blown moments. Like, wow, that was deep. And you saw how much they cared about each other. I see how much Ellie and Dina care about each other. For her to take a bite for her sticking her arm out and taking a bite for her, that scene in the train with I was like, yo, I think Dina's done. I thought she was a goner, bro. I thought she was done. But she stuck her arm out to take a bite, and then that created that tense scene where she's pointing the gun at her, and then she reveals her secret to her. And then, of course, things led to another. One thing led to another after that. But it just showed how much they care. She told her, I'll die for you. And then, of course, we'll get into what happened next. But just to me, this was about, of course, Isaac, them introducing Isaac to us. And we have a friend. His name is Thomas. He looks like Isaac. Um,
Shout out to Thomas.
um,
Beer for the beer and
he
for the
does
pan.
beer for the
And for
beer.
the
Yes.
pan. And for the pans.
Every time I see him,
now I can't unsee that.
yeah, every time I see him, I'm like, oh, look at Thomas. But to me, this episode showed me that, like, just wow, they really care about each other, and just the way episode 3 of season 1 showed me, like, that's just again real true companionship. But when he said, "I don't have a purpose anymore," that to me was just like, boom. And this just kind of this episode reminded me of that. Like, wow, they really care about each other. But I'll go to. Okay, again, we're off script with the game anymore. We're not really like, because I know nothing about the game. I know you guys. I know Pooba knows a little bit more than Cole, and Cole knows more than everybody knows more than me. But so Pooba, you thought that. So you're saying you thought Dina was gonna shoot her?
Yeah, I mean, and not to kill her, so not to kill her, right? But a kind of a flesh wound in a sense, something that like shoot her in the leg, so she doesn't have the ability to just run against her. So I thought like that she was gonna pull the trigger. What was even scarier was the scene where she when Ellie woke up and you couldn't see Dina's face. And but you could tell the gun was pointed at her.
Flashlight was obscuring her face. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, did she turn? That'd be kind of cool, right? She pulls back and she turned into a clicker. Like that part was eerie as hell for me. And I was trying to figure out, I was like, is she alive? Is she get bit somewhere else? Because you know that surprise sometimes happens in these type of shows where you don't see the bite and all of a sudden they're showing their bite. But it was eerie, like that whole thing there. And again, the makeup, what I call makeup sex, the makeup sex was all worth it, I guess, at this point in time. So point a gun at me and then let's scissor it out. Yeah, why not?
Oh. Yeah. So to me, as you bring up that part, and I got a question for you, Ko. It was. I was just like, wow, okay, they're really gonna take it to the, like I said earlier, one thing led to another, and it happened there. It went further than the kiss, but that was being teased since the kiss. I thought, for them to have sex, but they did it. They did it there, after that tense moment. So Cole, I want to take it back to Isaac. Now we didn't get. I didn't sense too much of. I get they're at war. What was the name of the other crew? Pooba?
Seraphites.
Okay, you can see they're at war with them.
Wow.
He has somebody. He has somebody there. He has somebody caught, chained up against the wall. Necessary or unnecessary? His methods for trying to get information.
I thought it was very necessary. So let me give some backstory to this.
Please.
So you have Isaac. He is also voicing the Watcher in the What If Marvel series.
He's all over. He's all over the place. You're right. That's a good one. Yep.
Absolutely.
Thomas is everywhere.
That's funny, Pooba. So they worked for Fedra, which was a government state quarantine zone. But it looks to him like that very beginning scene when he's in the truck with his comrades. He seems upset on how Fedra is treating the citizens, which they call them voters. Just completely dissing the citizens and really didn't like what Fedra was actually doing during the time. So this is a timestamp where it's pretty much after the apocalypse, but way before Jackson, right? And what ends up happening is once he gets to that town and he takes the other kid with him, and it's important that I bring up that kid because to answer your question, Pete, he's also involved in that. And I just want to give a backstory to it. He takes the kid, he blows up Fredra because what they want to do is when the lady gave him £1, she said, welcome to the fight. So the fight is actually against the Seraphites. Now, fast forward, it seems like he left Fredra, Isaac, I'm talking about, and ends up with the WFL. Wolf, right? Yeah.
WLF.
WLF, excuse me. Yeah, the WLF. Now he's joining them with that fight between them and the Scars. With that, I can't wait for the show to go deeper into how the Scars deal with society themselves. I'm guessing, and this is just a guess from me, it could be that those are those citizens that were taken from their votes, and that's why they became who they are, that kind of cult that we spoke about prior. So, well, I completely loved the interrogation that he was giving the Seraphite and trying to find out, who are they going after next? I even laughed when he goes, "You traded us, we traded us, you traded, we did." I don't care. Just give me the information. And then he ends up burning his hand. But that boy that I told you that he took from the Fredra was outdoor, was in the door just guarding it. And you can see Fredra was like, the boy was like, whatever, so you can see like how it took time for him to join this fight. That rookie, shall I call him? That rookie, he has just a blank face compared to when you first see him. I actually liked when the Scar gave him the other hand and said, it doesn't matter what you're going to do to me. I'm not going to give you any information. But the best info that he did get was that you guys are always going to lose because wolves come to us, but you never see us go to wolves. And of course he had to assassinate him because you can tell that Isaac it's not about the torture. He don't get joy in that. It was more about getting the information. So it was definitely necessary, but to no result.
When he stuck his hand out, like, yeah, go ahead, do it, because I don't care. I think he shot him more because he was just like, not because he's enjoying it, but you know what? It's a waste of time. He's
exactly.
not going to give me any more, so I'm going to waste my time in burning this guy with this pan. So, he's gone. Another comic book reference for Jeffrey Wright is he was James Gordon in The Batman as well.
He was.
So he's James Gordon. He's the Watcher. He's Isaac. He's Thomas. He's everybody. That to me, when he just assassinated him after he stuck his hand out, to me that was just like, okay, it's enough. It's pointless to keep on. If you're getting your rocks off doing it, okay, then go ahead, knock yourself out. But it wasn't about that. He wasn't getting anything else. This guy was willing to get tortured, to not give him any more, and that was it.
What I like about the show is that in the game, there are things that, like I said prior, you could find a notebook or something and read that. The show actually gives you the visual.
So this is, we'll go back to Pooba here. It was a big surprise with Dina. Now, is this in the game?
Yes. This isn't a game, but it happens before, and Cole could probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it happens before they get into the train station. So she lets her know, like, as they get to Seattle, she finds out about it. Here she's finding about it way after, but I'm okay with the way they did it in this storyline. Like, in the sense of that, as Dina falls in love, and again, Cole's right. Like, that the scene of Ellie playing the guitar wasn't just Ellie. Dina sold it. Like, the way Dina was looking at her, she sold it. And when Kojak mentioned the eyes, that's why I said you got Dina eyes, because you read the love right through the eyes. And again, it's credit to the acting, and I think she's you'll see her in a lot of other roles because of this particular role. But yeah, no, it happens differently. It's very weird to hear Ellie said, "I'm gonna be a dad." Like that kind of threw me off a little bit, knowing that she's not the dad and she's best friends with the dad.
Two dads.
Yeah. So that for me was, again, I'm not against it at all form or fashion, but it's like, okay, that's your first process. So I'm wondering now, because this is the part of the game I don't know. I'll probably do some research just to kind of know what we're talking about next week. But I'm curious to how Ellie is gonna more protect, right? If you already threw out the arm out for it to get bitten, can you imagine what she's gonna do to protect Dina, which is put her at risk, I think, moving forward. So I'm curious how they do this because Cole, correct me if I'm correct me if I'm wrong on the game. Ellie says you can't come with me, and she goes by herself, right? Or
that is correct.
Dina? Yeah. So
yeah, she forces her to go back to Jackson.
Right. So the game is different because, Dina's like, I'm gonna rock with you. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this together. And don't get me wrong, they're a formidable force, just them too. I don't know how much they're gonna do against the militia that the Wolves have, but I'm curious to how they do it moving forward. The pregnancy wasn't a shocker for me because when I played the game, when I entered Seattle, I kind of knew that already. So that I was waiting for that, right? Especially when they showed the Monostat 7 and she was like, hey, like she asked her, does she want the cream? And she was like I guess she had herpes or something. She goes, not yet. I love that scene as well. That was actually pretty funny as well. But no, I think it was smart play by them by dropping this the way they did it, by not following the game, keeping the gamers that love the game also on their toes, right? So I think it should be surprising for some of them. I read The Walking Dead, and they changed some of the stuff, and I enjoyed some of the changes. There are some changes I didn't want them to change, but at the tail end of it, it was a good show. It would have been on so long if it was whack. So
I agree with you on that, Pooba. I feel like, or do you want to see the exact same story you read in a book or a comic book or so on and so forth, or a video game? No, switch it up a little bit. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, because remember in the game, I'm trying to remember this, but in the game, Ellie doesn't get bitten to save Dina. I think her mask breaks because remember in the game it's spores, it's not bites. They changed that completely.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up.
So you breathe in and I think I can't remember, Cole. Sorry, like it's been so long, but I think her mask breaks or something of the nature. She takes it off, and that's why Dina was about to shoot her because she breathed in the spores.
But the way they did it in the show, I thought it was so cool. Since it's not spores and she is immune, to put her arm there and take the bite, that was fresh. I really enjoyed that.
Well, you think about it, these are actors that need their face time, so they can't have their faces covered by masks. Think about the actors who play superheroes and they're always taking off the freaking mask, which drives me crazy. Spider-Man does it in every movie, and it drives me insane. But because he's the one if anybody needs to protect their secret identity, it's him. You know what I mean? I always felt that way. Like that's why it would burn me, especially when in Spider-Man 2 when he stopped the train and his mask came off, or he took it off, and it was just like, dude, everybody's gonna see your face now. But again, I don't want to get off topic, but
his mask was on fire.
I know that, but he could have just did this. Okay, keep it on.
Because he's always broke and he wants to hide from the debt collectors, so he hides his face.
It's not funny. It's not funny. I'm not laughing at that.
That's fine. I am. But no, I think the pregnancy portion is awesome.
We're gonna mute. You're gonna mute your mic, Pooba.
Oh,
turn his mic on. Did you guys? Remember, I didn't know any of this about the pregnancy and anything. So, Pooba, when he brought the Monostat, remember she's looking for medication, and then when she said, "I gotta pee," I said she found the pregnancy test.
Very good.
Like I figured it out. I said, but I didn't know. But then when she said it, I was like, I knew it. It was the pregnancy test. That's how I got confirmation. But I didn't know. But
so, Pete, remember the episode before when she saw the Seraphites all dead and she came out of there?
Yep.
that I already knew that part, so I just stood silent. I didn't want to blow it up.
No, that's good. Again, I'm
And
watching
she
this
did it
from
again.
scratch.
She did it again with the Seraphites. When she saw the Seraphites, they gutted those people. They gutted some of the wolves. And again, goes back to what we said in the previous episode. We know that these Seraphites can't be good because the way they cleanse people is by gutting them.
Yeah, you said that last time, and that's pretty tough.
Yeah, and the guy was like, "We'll kill even the babies." I was like, "Wow!"
This time you actually got a visual, and after the show, you can watch, like, HBO gives you an opportunity to see like behind the scenes and stuff like that. I did not know that they use real actors on those hooks, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. So one more thing. They, like you said, you brought them up. You said that they're formidable, just them two. They took out two wolves. They took out two wolves when they entered that room and they were hiding behind those consoles and stuff and those crates. They took out two wolves. So going forward, it's only gonna get tougher for them. Also,
Well, they took out a whole group because if you got to add in the group that was in the
that followed them into the train station. Okay,
and in essence, I get it. You got to give the credit to some of the clickers, but not between the two of them. They took out a whole platoon.
Well, I'm only counting the ones they actually took care of. But yeah, of course, if these guys got caught by the clickers, that's on them for being sloppy. But I mean, again, she also has another obstacle in the sense where now she's worried about her that she's pregnant. So now I'm going back and forth to the game because again, you guys are the guys who have experience playing the game and watching the show. So was that her reaction in the game when she told her she was pregnant?
That I don't know. She would know. Actually, her reaction, she was more upset. She was jealous because it was Jesse, obviously, that that got her pregnant, and she was more jealous, and that's kind of why she told her, "Look, you got to go back to Jackson. You can't be here right now."
I wasn't surprised because again, I saw, like I said before, I saw how they care for each other. They're in love with each other. That's obvious to me anyway. And for her reaction didn't surprise me when she said, "Yeah, I'm gonna be a dad. We're gonna have a kid." And Jesse's just like the Squidward meme. I was looking at SpongeBob and Patrick celebrating outside the window, and he's Squidward. Like, what about me, guys? She didn't care. I thought that was cool because again, like you said, she was mad because obviously it's from Jesse. But I love the fact that she just she jumped right into the pool with that one. Like,
yeah, she embraced it, right? She just took it in. Because you can tell how much Bella loves Dina as well. Yeah.
That's
they definitely sold the relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Great chemistry between them two. Great chemistry because again, this is I don't know who you were speaking about. You speaking about Dina saying she's gonna get other roles because of this? Was that who you speaking about?
Yeah. I think Dina's gonna get other roles, and I know she's in other movies that are also coming out, like Superman. So definitely, I could see her like this is a good role for her. Like I don't remember her in anything else.
He played Dora the Explorer.
I didn't watch that.
I heard about that. Yeah,
she did.
But I heard about that.
But again, I don't think Dora the Explorer is gonna get her to her next career like this is. Look how long it took for us to notice her again.
On the contrary, she played Dora before, and look, she got a spot in The Last of Us. That's
right. But I'm saying is a time gap. There's a big time gap from Dora the Explorer to now, right? So I don't think that happens anymore because of this acting.
He was in another movie with Mark Wahlberg about a big family or something like that. I saw that on IMDb. Something else. She's done other stuff. I mean, this is the first time I'm really seeing her, to be quite honest. But yeah, so I'm gonna go to Cole now. Any last thoughts on this episode?
Well, yeah, I want to go back and talk about that train scene was so cool. I really enjoyed that when they were going through the subway, through the carts, and then hey, go up and stuff like that. So I'm a New Yorker, so going through the turnstiles and going through those doors and going through a train station gave me a nostalgia. At the same time, I couldn't imagine getting chased by zombies, clickers, or what have you. You know, that has to be frightening. And then I want to talk about what Puba was talking about, because that scene was really, really, really cool and in depth for them to show how Dina just flipped the switch and said, "I'm gonna have to shoot you right now because you're gonna turn, and then I don't want to turn." And yet Dina didn't just give in to her word right away. It took some time, and you could imagine Dina didn't even sleep, just watching to make sure that Ellie was telling the truth, that she wasn't going to turn. And even once she woke up, she still had her in interrogation, like Pooba said, with what, like you guys said, with the gun pointed at her. And she was taking her time. She was like, "Look, it's only water. Look, let me show you." Then started going in more into depth with her bite, and saw that Ellie burned herself and then tattooed it because she's trying to cover it up. There's something in the game with that, but I won't get into that part right there. And then finally, after knowing for sure that she is immune, she fessed up. And then when they got together, I thought it was great. Overall, I love the way the show is going. It's going to continue giving you more stuff. Pooba and I, we kind of know what's going to go on. We don't want to say too much to blow it up for not only Pete, but for you guys as well. But I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am.
Uba, last thoughts on this episode.
Last thoughts on The Last of Us. So watch the show, folks. This show is good. You'll enjoy it. I think it. I've yet to see a dull episode, which really I enjoy. There are no throwaway episodes. Everything matters. Every detail matters about this show. The banter is great. The acting is great. I forget every now and then that this is an apocalyptic world, and because you're just immersed in each character. Like I want a little bit more of Isaac. You know, we want to see Ellie and Dina. Look, we started off the show asking about Tommy, so we're invested. Like all of us are invested in these characters and each individuals. Bring back the dogs again from Jackson. Let's do that. Let's get some doggies out. But no, this is all enticing. This is all great to watch. I hope the fans aren't watching it. I'm curious to know who doesn't like this show, and I want to talk about that. So comment below on why you don't like the show, so we can have a good conversation. Let's take it. We could take it on X. We could talk on X. All the information is down below. Again, just a phenomenal way to be at the midpoint of the show. I think we're at the midpoint of the show, so I'm hoping that they continue this path of telling a phenomenal story through a video game. Man, that's pretty dope that they're actually doing it. And you know, this may be the best adaptation of game to screen that we've ever seen. This may be it. That's all I got.
So there's 3 more episodes left of this season 2. And I'm agreeing with Cole on the fact that even the episodes that have a lot of dialogue don't drag. I'm not fighting to stay awake. It's well written all around. Just a great show all around. So we're talking about Dina. What else has she been in? She was in Madam Web. I don't know if anybody has seen Madam Web. She was in Madam Web.
As a Spider-Man fan, I definitely seen it, but only once.
And she was that movie I said about with Mark Wahlberg is called Instant Family. And I was told by a number of people not to see this movie, Transformers: The Last Night. She was in that apparently as well. But that was the last Transformer. Yeah,
she must have been so young because I saw that movie. I can't even remember her.
She's only 21 years old.
Yeah, she must have been
No, I'm sorry.
really,
She's
really
23.
young.
She's 23. Bella Ramsey's 21. She's 23 years old. So yeah, you could.
Yeah, they're pups. They're pups.
Yeah. They were babies. But listen, thank you to everyone who's been watching, who's subscribed. If you haven't, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, and we will return.
The worst episode ever.